Good morning and welcome to another short video. The topic for today is evolution of supply chain mindset over the years. The agenda for today's meeting is first we will talk about the traditional mindset, then we will talk about the current mindset that has evolved over the years in supply chain. So let's begin with the traditional mindset. What exactly do we mean by this terminology? Traditionally, the concept about supply chain was the buyer and the sellers were interested in a transactional relationship between the buyer and the seller. They did not think long term. They did not value each other for the longer term. Most of their focus was on small gains. The buyer wanted to get the maximum profit in that one sale. They wanted the seller to give them the product at the lowest price, not thinking long term, not thinking about the future, not thinking of how both the buyer and the seller could establish a win-win relationship. The seller had the same mindset. The seller wanted to maximize the profit in that transaction, not thinking about the long term, not thinking about the future, not thinking how they could have worked together. So, this was the traditional mindset in the 1970s, in the 1980s, when the organizations were not thinking about this concept. Now we talk about the current mindset. The current mindset that has evolved over the years in supply chain is realization of importance of relationship between the buyer and the seller. Buyer nowadays wants a reliable and long-term partner that gives them consistent supply. They have realized that reaching out to new suppliers, trying them, testing them is a waste of time and effort. So if they find a supplier that matches with them, that is able to give them consistent supply of raw materials or services that they require up to the mark, does not create too many problems for them, so they would happily get into a long-term contract and keep on buying the product or services from such a supplier for a very long time. Same is the case with the seller. Seller wants a stable source of business that values the expertise that they possess. So if a seller or a supplier is able to connect with the buyer, they see long-term business with each other. The seller says, you know what, this buyer has potential. This buyer is willing to pay me the premium price. This buyer is appreciating the expertise that I possess. So this is now the winning formula in today's market because keep in mind now the buyers and sellers are not competing. In today's age and world, the supply chains are effectively competing against each other because the fully integrated organizations act as one entity. So the concept is end-to-end supply chain. My customer's customer is also my concern as part of the integrated supply chain. If I am a manufacturer, the manufacturer cannot say, I only care about my distributor. My end customer is not my concern. I only care about my supplier. My supplier is not somebody who I'm concerned with. No, all the elements in the supply chain need to be considered. All the elements in the supply chain are important because if there is a breakage, you will not have business anymore in the future. So this is what we had to talk about in today's short video. I will see all of you in our next video.